I am thrilled to be joined by Hall of Fame quarterback Jim Kelly. He led the Buffalo Bills to 4 consecutive Super Bowls from 91 to 94 and played his college football at the University of Miami. Since retiring from the NFL in 1997, he has battled cancer, and his son Hunter passed away in 2005 at the age of 8. Jim continues to be an inspiration around the world because of his faith and toughness. Jim, thanks so much for being with us today on Unpacking It to talk faith, football, and life. How are you?
I like it. Doing pretty good. Feeling pretty good.
All right. Well, your daughter, Erin, posted earlier this week, no cancer. He is now over 18 months cancer-free. God is good. Praise Jesus. So another exciting week for you.
Yeah, there's no doubt that I'm blessed. I had my quarterly MRI. Well, I had that a couple weeks ago, and unfortunately, they saw some things they weren't sure, so I had to make a return trip to New York City and go through surgery. They, removed a bunch of skin that they thought might show if I did or did not have cancer. They weren't sure, and of course, they did some other things while they were in there. Why not? You go in, you might as well clean it all out.
Wow.
And but I feeling good, cancer free. Thank the good Lord, and I'm a very blessed man.
Well, speaking of your daughter, how did your relationship change with both of your daughters through your battle with cancer?
Of course, I've always been very close with them. We have a very close-knit family, but I guess you don't know how they will react when, something like this was going to happen, especially my older daughter. She was there every day that my son Hunter was battling with Krabbe leukodystrophy, and she was the bigger sister. She saw what he went through, and then all of a sudden, how I brought her up when she was playing basketball to be a tough girl and don't let anybody push you around. And when you're on the basketball court, there's a ball on the ground, dive on it. Always be. You got to be physical. I mean, you're Kelly. I mean, that's how I was brought up in a family of 6 boys, and I wanted my daughter to be the same. The yes sir, no sir, the firm handshake, but also to be number one, be a lady. And as we went on through everything and how she thought now, with her daddy having cancer, is she going to lose the 2 men of her life? She already lost her brothers. Now she's going to lose her dad. And how she stayed strong through it. And you know what? I am. There's no doubt I'm a blessed man to have family members that have rallied by me, kept by my side, and always kept me thinking positive things.
What a blessing that is, and also a blessing that you remain cancer-free, and so we're so glad about the recent results. And as you look back, though, during the time of the real battle, when you were in the middle of it, what are some of the takeaways that you still think about? And this may sound like a crazy question, and you may laugh at me, and people listening may laugh as well, but was there anything from that time that you miss?
You kidding me?
All right. I shouldn't
I don't miss one bit of it. I mean, of course, when you go through all those things, there's so many things that go through your mind. And, the closest, not only of my 2 daughters and my wife, but my brothers and my friends. And I've always said, you know what, it's who you surround yourself with. It doesn't matter what the situation is. If you have good people around you, positive people with faith, you're going to get through it. And, none of us know that day. I mean, the good Lord is the only one that knows that day when your number's going to be called. And the thing for me, it's all about your attitude. And through that whole thing, I always had a good attitude. Yeah, you have your days where you're not feeling real good. But for anybody out there listening, just remember one thing. When you go in to see anybody that's not doing well, whether it's, somebody who's battling cancer, whether it's somebody that's sick, whether it's your grandparents, whether it's the elderly, always going with an attitude that you're going to make their day better. And that's what it's about. I mean, my family never walked into my room with a frown on their face. They walked in with an attitude they're going to make my day better by their presence. And boy, did they ever. So, no, I don't miss any, because, when you go through things like that, yeah, it's painful. Yeah, you look at it and say, why me at times? But the thing is, as I travel the country and I talk to people and I listen to people, I realize I don't have it that bad. There's so many people out there to have a lot worse than I do. And every morning I wake up, it's a blessing for me. And I live every day. I know it's an old cliche to its fullest, but I'll tell you what, when you go through all the things I've been through, and you mentioned some of them early on about the Super Bowls, and then, of course, having a son born on my birthday and then passing away at the age of 8 years old, the ups and downs of your life, you thank the good Lord for each and every day you have. And people that know me know that I'm going to enjoy myself. It doesn't matter what it is. And again, I just continue to surround myself with good quality people.
No, I like it. And well, I guess I was just thinking, during that time, there were just certain things that maybe you learned or experienced, or you got to see different people that you wouldn't normally see because of it. So that was kind of my reason for asking that.
It's funny you say that, because people you don't see, I'm like, okay, why is this person come to see me?
I'm sure.
Am I like worse off? I go, buddy, you are not in my will, so why? No, I'm just kidding. No, it's interesting how many people come out and support you. And, there's people that are very close. There's people that I've known for years that I don't keep in touch with all the time, but when you do hear from your old friends back in high school that are thinking about that are praying for you, and it makes you definitely feel good that there's so many people out there who do care. And for me, probably the bottom line is for me to be an influence on others. I mean, so many people have told me I've been an inspiration to them, but I want people to understand that, by hearing things like that, it inspires me to keep fighting. It inspires me to continue to plug on. And if I'm making a difference for people, I want them to know that they're making a difference for me. And I keep saying it, but, I will never stop saying it, that I am a blessed man, that I don't have it that bad. So I'm just enjoying myself now with my 2 daughters. I'm getting ready to head down to my lodge this weekend. We got about 2.5 feet of snow. I'm going to jump on the snowmobiles with my office staff here. We're having our Christmas party a little late, but better late than never. We're going to have a little fun.
That's awesome. I love it. We're talking with Jim Kelly here on Unpacking It. And you mentioned that you speak around the country and you do a lot of interviews as well. And you're sharing your story a lot. And as I'm thinking about, okay, what angle do we want to go with today? I just was kind of thinking, what part of your story do you wish people asked you more about, or that you really enjoy letting people know that maybe doesn't always come up?
You know what? I've been speaking so much that pretty much everything that, my life has been out there. Number one is when I did battle cancer, I really didn't want anybody to know. I wanted to keep it internal. I think my wife knows how much of a personal person I am. I like to keep everything private, but unfortunately, at the time, I shouldn't say unfortunately, because it turned out to be the fortunate thing, but my wife said, Jim, if there's ever a time we need people to pray for you, she said, it's now. She said, we cannot wait. And, I listened to her, and she was right again. But you know what? There's so many things you try to focus on to make sure, whether it's with my son's foundation called Hunter's Hope or the Kelly for Kids or my football camp I do every year, going on the 30th year of my camp now. And really, there's nothing out there that I think people don't know about me. I just try to be an influence not only for the young but for the old too. And as long as I'm above the grass and I'm fighting, I will continue to do it, and hopefully I will inspire others to never give up.
Well, so let's talk about where that inspiration comes from and your faith. And you've talked about your faith, but even for people today, maybe the first time even hearing you talk about your faith, you didn't necessarily grow up following Jesus. So what was the turning point for you to really realize that you wanted to?
Well, to be honest with you, I really did I was Catholic. I was an altar boy, and I went to church every Sunday. But I guess when I became a Christian, I really learned what the Bible was all about. I learned more. I have a men's fellowship that I have about 15 of my buddies that come over to my house now every month, and we do a monthly fellowship, and we share and we learn, and there's so many things that you get to learn over the time, the period of that. But mine, April 23rd, 2007 is when I changed my life, became a Christian, and I realized that if I didn't lighten up, if I didn't humble myself to admit my faults, and if I didn't become the husband that I should have been, prior to that I was going to lose not only the name that my father raised us up with, but our foundation's name. I will lose my wife, my 2 daughters. I wanted to come home and have my 2 daughters look at their daddy with respect. And I was living a life that I wasn't very proud of it, to be honest with you. Some people have hard times humbling themselves, but I knew that what I wanted out of my life, I wanted my family, I wanted to respect, I wanted to be continue to live that legacy of making difference for others. So I changed, and thank the good Lord I did, because I'm a lot better off today than I was many years ago. Yeah, I had fun, but it was a different type of fun, and now I'm having a grand old time. I'm enjoying my life. I thank the good Lord again, and it's enjoyable, to tell you the truth. I'm enjoying it big time.
Amen. Absolutely. Jim Kelly, Hall of Famer, is our guest right now on Unpacking It. Is there a story or two that you can share today where you knew that God showed up in a very real way, maybe in a supernatural way throughout your life, where you look back and you go, man, it could have only been him when he came through in that way.
Well, there's no doubt with my cancer fight, because you know what, just for all the listeners out there, I mean, really put yourself in my position to a certain point. You think of everything I've been through. I mean, up for the Heisman Trophy. I know some of them are material things, like, I was up for the Heisman Trophy my senior year. I blew my shoulder out. They told me I'd never play again. I went to school at the University of Miami because it was nice and warm. I get drafted by Buffalo. I'm like, you got to be kidding me. And then, of course, going to those, sign with Buffalo, and then going through the 4 Super Bowls and losing them all, and then retiring. And then 2 weeks after I retire from the NFL, my son's born on my birthday, Valentine's Day. The game plan was already done. The script was already written. I knew exactly what it was going to be. And then 4 months into my son's life, he's diagnosed with a fatal disease. And going to the Pro Football Hall of Fame, the roller coaster ride that I've been on my whole life, from being at the top to being at the bottom, up and down, and thinking, Lord, I know I've screwed up a few times in my life, but seriously. And I think that all came to it when, my son passed away in 2005, when me and my wife hit rock bottom, with our marriage and not knowing where I was going to do. My son passed away, and there's a whole big story behind it all. And if any listener out there really wants to know, a lot of good detailed things about my faith and about my family's faith and how we got through it all, my daughter, Erin, wrote a book called Kelly Tough.
Yes.
And that's really pretty much a New York Times bestseller. The 19-year-old wrote it.
Wow.
And to go through all that, and then, all of a sudden thinking that, I've been through it all. Now, all of a sudden, you're diagnosed with cancer, not just once, but twice, and then have my whole jaw removed and all the things I've been through. And now to be where I'm at now, cancer-free, I look back and, you say, wow. And my whole story is just unbelievable, how, I've been at rock bottom, but how Jesus tests me all the time, but I've never gave up. I've kept my faith, and I understand that maybe I am a chosen man, because I'll tell you what, there's time where people say, Jim, you're a chosen father with a little boy named Hunter, because you can make a difference. And to be honest with you, at the beginning, I didn't want to hear that. I wanted a healthy son. I wanted a healthy boy, just like my brothers, just like, all my friends. They were able to play football and baseball and go hunting with all the things I dreamt about. But you know what? I realize now that, yes, I am a chosen father with a little boy named Hunter, that through him we can make a difference, and we have made a difference. And I will continue to fight, and hopefully we can make a difference, not only, as I stated before, for the young, but for the old too, to never give up, to keep fighting, and really, make the people around you, because you represent your family, and that's exactly how I've taken it, and I've taken it to heart.
Wow. Jim Kelly inspiring us today on Unpacking It. Check out jimkelly.com. He's got a lot of different things going on, and from the book that his daughter wrote to some different spices that you're selling as well. I actually, before we jump back into it, let me just ask you about that real quick, because you were selling it around Christmas especially, but people can continue to buy the spice collection at jkgamedaygreats.com. I'm personally a big spice fan, so how did this kind of come about for you, and how fun has it been to sell spices?
Well, to be honest with you, to make a long story short, my brother runs a company. It is my company, but Game Day Greats, people that know me, know my family, know about the tailgate parties we've had, the home gate parties we've had, to really bring friends and family around us to celebrate, to cheer for our teams that we love, whether it's high school, whether it's college, whether it's the NFL. And I've always been a guy that loves food. If you've ever seen the size of my 5 other brothers, you'll understand that. But I've always liked it. And we put together a 4-pack of Game Day Greats, and it's sriracha. We have chipotle, habanero, and garlic sea salt, and it comes in a very nice gift box. And also we have other things. I guess the bottom line is check out jimkelly.com, and you can go to our Game Day Greats, our My Fan Clip. We have great fundraisers for high schools and for junior high school, whether it's cheerleading, whether it's football, basketball, baseball. Everybody's looking to raise money for their foundation or for their school to buy new uniforms or new cheerleading stuff, or the travel nowadays with all the things that teams do now, whether it's Little League Baseball, how you play pretty much year-round now. But just check us out, see what we're doing, and we have things set up for high schools and for the youth to raise money, and just really enjoyed it. And the spices are something I enjoyed. I love food, and I got together with a buddy of mine who's a chef, and we put together some great recipes, and it's just amazing. And I enjoy doing it. I have fun. My brother loves it.
Cool.
And we employ about 8 or 9 other people, so we're enjoying it.
Oh, no, that's great. I wanted to make sure I asked you about it because I know it sounds funny. Oh, I'm a spice guy, but anytime I'm cooking, I'm using spices for sure. So
without a doubt.
So we'll get back into it a little bit because you've alluded to just a couple times the importance of your marriage changing throughout your story, and so I guess the best way to put it, maybe what do you tell couples who are about to get married based on what you've learned and some of the changes that you had to make in your marriage?
Well, number one is you got to be able to talk. You got to be able to communicate. Too many people, and that was our problems. You argue, you get in a disagreement, and you don't talk it out. And too many people don't do that. They just think they're always right. Sometimes, especially the guys, you got to humble yourself enough to know that, sometimes you're not going to win that battle. And sometimes it's best just to walk away. I mean, not walk away from marriage, just like walk away from a difference and be able to talk later on down the, whether it's the next day, but try to talk as much out that day as possible. And sometimes, as a guy, we always want to be right. And of course, as guys, we always think our wives say they're always right. But just communication, that is so important, being able to talk amongst each other. And if you need help, get help.
That's right.
We needed help. We got help. A pastor came in. We were able to communicate. We were able to talk through things with him. And boy, did it help. It helped me. I can't say it'll help everybody, but you do what you got to do to be able to get through some of the tough times, and everybody goes through them. I don't care who you are. You're going to have a little bump in the road. Communication is so vital.
No question. Jim Kelly giving some good marriage advice today here on Unpacking It. And you've explained your story a little bit and have talked about it a lot just as far as the growth and the things that you've learned and experienced. But what about recently? What has God maybe laid on your heart recently? Just some things that maybe you've experienced or read or heard that have just had an impact on your heart recently?
Well, probably pretty much really just never giving up and being that influence. Keep letting people know that you were a tough football player, as everybody always said, and all this. Sometimes that's overrated, but I look at it, and just for people to understand, you can be a truck driver, you can be a biker, which I have a pickup truck, I have my Harley. You can still be a tough man, still be a Christian, still have your faith. And too many people sometimes think that, is for the light. But I'll tell you what, there's so many of my buddies that I never thought in a million years would ever become a Christian that I've been able to get them to think more with their heart and understand where they're going and where they want to go. And I never thought, so many people never thought I would become one, because early on, to be honest with you, it was pushed on me.
Wow.
And for everybody out there, and this goes with anything, whether being a leader, it's not what you say to somebody. It's how you say it to them. How do you get them to, number one, respect you, number two, to believe in what you believe, but don't push it on them, because it was pushed on me, and I didn't like that. How I got some of my friends that were not Christians that are now reading the Bible, and they're not all the way there, and it takes time. There's no doubt about it. But being able to portray it and be able to go through it with them slow, and sometimes when you try to hurry things, it sometimes pushes people away. And, later on down the road, that's how I got into it. Even though I knew that I had to do it and I wanted to do it, it's just a matter of put my foot forward and say, I need to do it now. But just for people out there who are trying to not so much convert somebody else, but to get them to start believing in their heart, watch how you talk to them. Do it in a way that you're not pushing it on them. Just take it slow. Take it easy. It's all God's perfect timing. I know it's so cliche, but I'll tell you what, it's exactly the way it is. Don't push it on them. Take it your time, making sure it's on their time, not yours.
That's excellent, and that's much needed to hear. That's even encouraging to me. So I appreciate you saying that. That's huge. Well, Jim, it's been such a privilege talking with you, and I just got one more question for you. With your old buddy Mark Richt taking over at your alma mater, Miami, I'm curious your thoughts on the change of culture that could potentially happen with Mark Richt taking over down there. At the same time, kind of keeping what Miami has been and the U and all that. What are your thoughts about that? The culture down there and where it's maybe heading now.
They needed it. They needed a change, and they needed a change drastically. And I'm not going to say from, I think, more of the public perception than anything. I think Mark Richt not only brings a great coaching background, great people with him, but he brings the intangible. He brings something that they needed down there. He brings integrity. He brings a person that is going to tell it the way it is, and he's going to get people to follow and believe in what he does. Not only a great football player, but he will teach kids how to be a man. And he is a faith-based coach.
Yeah.
But I think that's what they need. But bottom line for universities nowadays, the bottom line is you got to win.
That's right.
And I think they hired the right person. I look forward to going to games. I look forward to being a part of the U.
That's right. No, I'm thrilled to see him down there and can't wait to see how it all plays out. It's going to be a fun one for sure. Well, Jim, thank you so much. Really appreciate you sharing your heart and your story with us today. People can check out jimkelly.com as well as huntershope.org as well. So thanks for being an inspiration and hope you have a wonderful weekend.
I appreciate it. Thank you. And I can leave people with this. As I sat in my room about 6 months ago and just listen to all the people that I've talked to and how many people are going through things, just remember one thing. Whatever you can do to make a difference for somebody, you got to do it. Make a difference today for someone who's fighting for their tomorrow. And really makes a lot of sense because what my family did, what my friends did, they made a difference when they came to see me. They made my day better by their presence. So just keep fighting and make a difference for somebody.
Amen. We'll end it with that.
God bless you, bud.
Have
a good one, and we'll talk later.
All right. Sounds great. Hall of Famer Jim Kelly joining us here on Unpacking It. What a guy. What a legend. What a story. And I really appreciate him sharing today. I hope that you are encouraged and inspired by him. I don't know how you can't be. So love hearing from him today. Really appreciate him taking the time.